bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, man. How you doing? It's Thursday. Thursday, December 15th. 350 days into the new year. Just 16 days left, everybody. I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planets. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? It's Thursday. It's Thursday in the chair. Thursday night, it's another Fader Night with Jon Rappoport and his No More Fake newsroom. And then it's open lines all night long. The call-in number is 323-825-5045. Write it down. Take a picture. Tomorrow night, I'll be over at Coast to Coast AM. I'm going to hang out there Friday and Saturday night. Tomorrow night, I'll be sitting in for George Norrie. My guest will be Douglas Rushkoff. Saturday night, my guests will be Ralph Ellis and Howard Bloom. No rest for the wicked. Follow me on Twitter, at JChurchRadio, Facebook, YouTube. You know what to do. Go follow, like, and subscribe. Go to our website right now. Click on the buttons. Get it done. You can email throughout the show tonight, Jimmy@JimmyChurchRadio.com. You know the drill there, too, as well. Just make it good. That's all you got to do. And then I'll see it. And if you get lucky, maybe I'll write you back. Yeah. Any questions or comments during the show tonight? Hashtag F2BQ. Do Sky. I dig that. Man for the 60s. I dig that. I dig that. That's a really cool gift. I dig that. JFK. Very cool. All right. Yeah, the dancing gifts are flowing in. Thank you. You know, I'm just going to tell it has become such a tradition with the show to see those that it's just cool. I mean, I just dig it. And we're going to have to, it's the new ones too. The Star Trek one with the peanuts. That one's really good. That's from Jack. That's really good. Justin, it's really, you guys are coming up here. Oh, who did the striper? Jordan did the striper. Man, to get a striper gift going. When I first moved to California, I'm talking about first moved to California. First couple of weeks I was here, I was at a liquor store and not buying liquor, but I'm at a liquor store. And there is a stand where, they had the LA Weekly and stuff. They had a magazine there called BAM, Bay Area Musician. And obviously started in San Francisco. This is the LA version. And there was, some rock band on the cover. I thought, wow, cool. It's free. And I picked it up, took it home. And it became not only my weekly reader, one of the coolest magazines ever in the history of anything, but in the back half of BAM, which I found out on my own, was the ads for all of the rock clubs in L.A. And the big deal back then, which I quickly found out, was you had to save your money and get yourself a full-page ad in BAM magazine. And if you did that, you would have arrived. So anyway, back to Striper. I grab this magazine, and I go home, and I'm flipping through it, and I'm looking, I'm a guitar player, and I wanted to do my thing, and I'm looking at these ads in the back. And a couple of them I'll never forget. One was Striper. Man, big full-page ad, Striper, singing for Jesus, right? And I thought, man, check out this band. And there was another full-page ad in there. And he's been on this show, and we hung out with him in Big Bear, Kenny Marquez and his band Renegade. And I'm looking at Kenny with these glasses that had diamonds all over them. And I'm like, man, who is this dude? But anyway, Striper, it never left my retinas. It was burned in for life. Man, look at all the Dio. What is this? You guys are too much. Anyway, Striper. Okay, that's it. Unless you're from LA. Well, I guess they kind of made it big for a minute on Calling On You. Remember that video on MTV? And Striper. You guys are, look at that. I've got a full page now, 3 columns wide of dancing GIFs. This is too much. This is, okay. All right. Let's get back to the show, folks. It's Thursday night. It's your night. Oh, are you guys trying to distract me on purpose? Is that what's going on here? I've got pages and pages now of dancing GIFs. All right. Give me a dancing GIF, another Striper. Give me a Striper. Oh, man. Pole dancing for Jesus. That was the crazy thing about Striper, man. No doubt. Who's okay, that's it. That's Freddie Mercury. Okay, I got to get back to the show. Happy holidays from all of us and our sponsors here at Fade to Black. I did see the tweets from Aaron earlier. He got his FADERNIGHT special from, and he got 2, actually. He got 2 kits. Two kits from Studio Dome. Very cool. And Merry Christmas there, Aaron. And I just wanted to give you a shout out because that was really cool for you to post those pictures. He got the Studio Dome FADERNIGHT special. He got 2 of them. He got 2 hard shell cases. So he got 2 stereo systems, true wireless stereo. So right now, I am sure that there's another Striper. Man, where are you gonna? How do you find a Striper GIF online? Or are you making this? That is too much. Look at Oz Fox. Man, Oz. Striper GIFs. He got the Studio Dome FADERNIGHT special. Hard shell case, $129, free shipping. And right now, Aaron is listening to this show in stereo. Right now. And you should too. Get one. Get one for the one you love. Also, River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Promo code F2B blend is going to get you 15% off of your order, and you can have it sent or give it away. Get it to your house, right? Get it to your house, and then when you go to that Christmas party, right, you're going over to the in-laws, you hit them with a bag of Fade to Black, and that is a real gift. Think about that for a second. Life Change Tea, promo code Jimmy. There it is, either over the phone or online. Click on all of the banners over at jimmychurchradio.com. Support the show. Zeepa, we were talking about that last night because I have a bunch of Zeepas here in the bunker. And, of course, one over at the house. But Zeepa, Z-Y-P-P-A-H, stop snoring today. And if you go to the Zeepa website, go and look at the ABC News special report. Zeepa was the only device that they tested that worked. Think about that. ZYPPAH.com. Zeepa.com. All right. The first big conference of the season is coming up. It's coming up February 10th through the 13th. The Conscious Life Expo. at the LAX Hilton. Again, the banners are over at jimmychurchradio.com. We're going to be broadcasting like we always do from the big room downstairs, the Plaza Ballroom, Fade to Black live. Come and hang out. You know, if you've never been there, you've heard about it, you want to go, come and hang out with us. Because that night, we're going to have Wilcock, Corey Good, Dolan, Linda Moulton Howe, Childress. George Norrie's going to be over at Coast to Coast. So he's not going to be on the air with, you know what? We'll get him to call in. How's that? Mike Barra, Nassim Haramain. It's because of his hair. Nassim Haramain. Lori McDonald, Jason Martell, Sean Stone, William Henry, Daniel Sheehan, Whitley Strieber, Daniel Brinkley, Laura Eisenhower, Dell Bigtree, producer of the movie Vaxxed is going to be there. Lisa Garr, co-host over at Coast to Coast. She's going to be there. All right, so get your tickets and info. And we will have some information up here shortly, probably by Monday, for you to get the live stream over in Europe. You're over in Sweden. Do you hear me, Maria? You're over in Sweden. You can get the live video feed from all of the conference rooms. Think about that. All right? Let's get this show cracking. Let me hit this River Moon. I watched that movie today of Jeff steaming up, smoking the Fade to Black blend. What a great movie, man. Can you imagine what that smells like? That steam, that smoke. I can only imagine. Man, nearly erotic. All right. Happy birthday to today. Don Johnson is 67. He will always make the list. Tim Conway today is 83. Tim Conway in Los Angeles, big-time guy, right? But he makes the list here because he's the father of Tim Conway Jr. Tim Conway Jr., he's a radio host here in Los Angeles on KFI right before Coast to Coast. He's on it, I think at 8 p.m. Great show. Funny dude. Great radio host. And now Tim Conway's just known as the dad of Tim Conway Jr. That's how big-time Tim Conway Jr. is. Happy birthday, Tim Conway. Our dead guy's birthday today is, I did this last year, but I have to do it again, Nero, 37 to the year 68, died at the age of 30. And what a weird death it was, right? He was appointed the office of Roman governor at the age of 14. At 17, following the death of his adopted father, Claudius, he became emperor at the age of 17. That ran out for 13 years. He executed his mother, was implicated in the murder of his stepbrother, Britannicus. During his reign, he also persecuted and killed all the Christians he could find. He set fire to Rome so he could make room for his new grand palace. And that pretty much was the end. That kind of pissed off all the Romans. And so he looked for a place to hide. He was running around. He knew that they were after him, and there was some talk that they were coming down. And with the sound of approaching horsemen, Nero knew that he was facing the end. However, he could not bring himself to take his own life. He couldn't fall on his own sword like a good Roman does, right? So instead, he forced his private secretary to perform the task, and then he doesn't die. Right? It was a faulty assisted suicide. And so the dudes get there and they save his life, man. They keep him from bleeding. And they kept him alive for a little while, but then he died a short time later and belted out a couple of famous quotes. Nero. There you go. All right. On this day in history, 1791. Following ratification by the state of Virginia, it happened. The first 10 amendments to the United States Constitution, known collectively as the Bill of Rights, became the law of the land on this day in 1791. Fader fact. Are you ready? The Kepler 111-45123 star, discovered in 2016, is so perfectly spherical that it is the roundest natural object ever measured. Yeah, I don't know how they pulled that off. That's a fact. That's a Fader fact. 111-451-23. All right, so today I wake up to a few of my friends posting on Facebook that they were starting to see official things in their timelines when they tried to read, post, or click on some dubious news stories. And I was reading, I was like, what's going on, And obviously fake news, but what I mean is it was kind of surprising everybody. And a couple of my friends today got sent to the corner for 3 days. 3 days, man, banished in Facebook for posting fake news. Right? It happened. Today's the day. It was going to happen sooner or later, but the time is now. And I'm being serious because I love this coffee. Oh, man. Because a little later today, Facebook announced that it is officially cracking down on their fake news problem. They will now be fact-checking news stories to verify their accuracy and will bury fake news stories in its news feed. Facebook was widely criticized this year about fake news stories that rapidly spread on their platform, and I certainly wasn't quiet on the matter, right? I was vocal enough. I was upset. Many of these false reports can be traced to a small town called Velez in Macedonia. Teenagers there are crafting sensational stories that they know will get the attention of us Americans over here on Facebook and therefore bring in lots of money and dosh, and they get new clothes and new cars, and they can go drink with their friends. Nobody is cooler to hang out with right now in Macedonia than somebody that's got a fake news website, right? Because they got all the cash. The average person in Macedonia, I'm not kidding about this, makes about $100 to $200 a month. It's somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000 a year. The government of Macedonia is trying to get some of these kids to go work for them because they need IT workers. But the government of Macedonia can only afford to pay a government salary of $400 a month. So what are you going to do? 17 years old? Go start yourself a website, right? Some of it came from Riverside. I'm not putting it all on Macedonia. Some of it came out of Long Beach, California, of course. And it seems that everybody was trying to cash in on the fake news gold rush, because that's exactly what 2016 is going to be remembered as. The year of the fake news. The year of so many people out there creating stuff, creating, and making $20, $30, $40, $50, $60,000 a month on you. Free money. Who wouldn't? Think about it. Well, you got to have morals. But if you don't care, of course, it's a gold rush. Now, Facebook, to assist them in waging this war on this deluge of fake stories that still surface on the platform every day, by the way. Facebook is partnering with several media organizations, including, and I'm not joking, Snopes. They're also going to use factcheck.org and PolitiFact, which are all part of the fact-checking network called Pointers. That's Poynters, Pointers, based over on the East Coast in St. Petersburg, Florida. But not only that, my dear friends, listen to me. They want you to be a snitch. They do. A rat. They want you in their employ. Seriously. Because next, users will be able to report stories that they suspect are fake. Once the story has been marked false by their fact checkers, it will be demoted in the news feed. But check this out. If you click you try to share, you try to read, and in any way, if it has been censorfied at that point, then you're going to get flagged right there. And I've posted pictures. Go over to our Facebook page right now. I'll get it up in the Twitter feed in the break when we bring on Rappoport. And I'll show you exactly what is going to pop up. These are screen captures distributed by Facebook today in their press release. Facebook went on to say, we're testing several ways to make it easier to report a hoax if you see one on Facebook, which you can do by clicking the upper right-hand corner of a post. We've relied heavily on our community for help on this issue, and this can help us detect more fake news. Oh, there it is right there. Thank you, Mark. Look at this. Everybody go to Twitter right now. Go to the Twitter feed. Go to hashtag F2B. Follow me, at JChurchRadio. Do it right now. Look at this image. So, right there, what's the bottom? You have a choice here. It's a fake news story. It's annoying or not interesting. You've seen that. It shouldn't be on Facebook. You've seen that. It's spam. You've seen that. Now you've got a fourth choice. It's a fake news story. And then what would you like to do? Choose the reason for selecting that. Mark this post as fake news, and you get the flag on it. Facebook will still allow you to share fake news stories. But before you hit the share button, you're going to get this notification that tells you the story's accuracy has been disputed by third parties. Also, if this thing proves to be fake by somebody, right, you could get sent to the corner. How about banned from Facebook for 3 days, like it happened to a couple of my friends today? And they're probably listening right now. I don't want to say their names. It's not cool. But they got hit, man. They got hit. The crackdown will likely come as a disappointment to those young people in Macedonia who, in some cases, have been making thousands of euros a day from advertisements on their fake news sites because the team of Facebook researchers will also review, are you ready, website domains and send sites that appear to be fake or spoofed, like WashingtonPost.co, that's a famous one, to third-party fact checkers. Oh, it gets better. The Associated Press will also be one of these fact-checking partners. Facebook has given its 4 initial fact-checking partners access to a tool that will let them label stories in the newsfeed as fake. And Facebook says it is not paying the organizations to do the fact-checking. They're fact-checking for free. The websites that Facebook determines to be fake news organizations or spoofed domains will also not be able to sell ads on Facebook. A few weeks ago, I outlined some projects we're working on to build a more informed community and fight misinformation. Today, I want to share an update on work we are starting to roll out. That was Mark Zuckerberg's bomb that he did today. He went on to say, we have a responsibility to make sure Facebook has the greatest positive impact in the world. This update is just one of many steps forward, and there will be more work beyond this. Facebook is a new kind of platform that is different from anything before it. And I think Facebook as a technology company, but I recognize we have a greater responsibility than just building technology that informs flow through. While we don't write the news stories you read and share, we also recognize we're more than just a distributor of the news. We're a new kind of platform for public discourse. And that means we have a new kind of responsibility to enable people to have the most meaningful conversations and to build a space where people can be informed. With many changes we make, we might just fight to give all people a voice and resist the path of becoming arbitrators of the truth ourselves. I believe we can build a more informed community and uphold these principles. Now, he closes with this. These steps will help make spreading of misinformation less profitable for spammers who make money by getting more people to visit their sites. And we're also going to crack down on spammers who masquerade as well-known news organizations. This is just one of many steps that we'll make to keep improving the quality of our service. Thanks to everyone for your feedback on this, and check back here for more updates to come. Well, is this censorship? Is this the end of Facebook? Nah, Facebook isn't going anywhere. At least for now. But is this censorship? And I'm going to say this. Well, yes, kinda, sorta, little bit. But it's not censorship like, well, what we think is a true definition of censorship, which is someone or something blocking something that is true, or someone's beliefs, or someone's opinions. Now that's censorship. Okay? Blocking something that is fake, made up, and not true, it's different. It's a little bit different. And let's turn this around for a second. And look, I'm not backing Facebook on this. I'm just pissed off on fake news. That's what I'm upset about. I don't want to see your minds twisted over something that just quite simply is just made up and false and not true. That's not cool. No matter what it's about, it doesn't matter. But let's turn this around for a second. Stay with me. What if from the very beginning of Facebook, at the very beginning, that they never let fake news get posted in the first place, right? Would we know the difference? If someone posted on Facebook, 10 years ago, right, and said, hey, Facebook won't let me post my made-up fake news that I'm trying to pass off as real so I can make money and sell ads, man, that just ain't right, right? If somebody posted that 10 years, you'd be like, dude, get out of here. Get out of here with your fake news crap. We don't need to see that. We would have laughed. We would have ignored them. And that's really the truth. They let it get out of control. And now they've got to clamp back, and that's censorship. Or it feels like it. And we know what that is. And we don't want that to happen. But fake news, made up stuff for profit, that's a bit different. All right? We need to grasp hold of this. We need to debate this. We need to talk about this. Tonight, it's Thursday night. It's Fader night. It's your night. Fake news is the news today. And I want to hear what you have to say about this. Touchy? Absolutely. For us in the UFO conspiracy community, this is something that we need to be very careful about. And now I'm wondering, when we post something over on Facebook now about UFOs or conspiracies, are we going to be thrown into that pile of fake news? Are we going to get banished? Will that change my opinion, right? Or now, do we have to watch what we say? Think about that. Fade to Black is. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight's Thursday night. It's Fader night. That means Jon Rappoport and his No More Fake Newsroom. He is up next, followed by Open Lines all night long. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email is Jimmy@JimmyChurchRadio.com on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. I'll be right back.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black Blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hi, folks. It's a holiday season with hope in the air. Things to look forward to and no time for despair. Health can be a challenge, and so can the mail. So Get the Tea wants to help you by giving you a sale. Buy 2 months of Super Tea and get 1 month for free. No limit. That's buy 2 months of Super Tea and get 1 month free. That's a savings of $35. Where? GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Scroll down on the front page and find the buy 2, get 1 free ad. Click it and save. Orders over $100 get free shipping. Send the gift of life. Change tea at GetTheTea.com. We have many non-GMO organic supplements just waiting for you. This holiday season, enjoy health and Thanksgiving with GetTheTea.com. Want to call us? 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. GetTheTea.com is a proud sponsor of doing what's right. That's GetTheTea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Chase Klutsky with Fate Magazine Radio, and you're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station where the Fadernauts rock.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Manson. You're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
And now, coming to you from the No More Fake News Room in deep space, which is the space that we suspect to be true, that the world as it is fed to us every single day by the Ministry of Truth is a lie, a false reality, a movie projected on the screen of our subconscious. This, however, is the breakout. All the screens crash, they all go down, and we see the light of day. A new day. No more robots, no more androids. It's the No More Fake Newsroom with Jon Rappoport. Take it away, John.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Jimmy. Good to be here again, as always, folks, as we head into the holiday season. So, what I want to do tonight is give you a story about a bill in the State Senate of California, number SB 18, that is coming to a vote. And instead of just giving you the headline and summarizing it and so forth, I want to take you through how I found what I found, the process, so to speak, step by step. I had been receiving emails about this. You got to look at this. You got to see what's happening here. This is horrendous, et cetera, et cetera. SB 18. So I read a couple of articles. I started to read the bill. I couldn't find it. Then I could find it. And I discovered that it was introduced by Richard Pan, the mover and the shaker behind the mandatory vaccination law in California for school children. So I became immediately suspicious, and I read through the bill, and what I call swamp gas emerged. Many empty, vapid generalities with an ominous tone. And I'm going to read you some of the pieces from the bill. Don't go to sleep, because it is vapid and empty, but I will fill in the details. The legislature finds and declares that all children and youth regardless of gender, class, race, ethnicity, national origin, culture, religion, immigration status, sexual orientation, or ability, have inherent rights that entitle them to protection, special care, and assistance, including blah, 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 the right to parents, guardians, or caregivers who act in their best interest, the right to form a healthy attachment with adults responsible for their care and well-being, the right to live in a safe and healthy environment, the right to social and emotional well-being, the right to opportunities to attain optimal cognitive, physical, and social development, etc., appropriate quality education, life skills, and this and that, and this quality health care. Now, some of this is just ridiculous on its face. The idea that you could sort of deliver on a silver platter to children such things as the right to opportunities to attain optimal cognitive, physical, social development. Can you really deliver that? Then we have special care, assistance, the right to social and emotional well-being. Well, the right to social and emotional well-being, I mean, how is that a right? That's something you work toward in the context of a family. So it dawned on me, this is the state trying to take over responsibility for all children. It's a replacement operation here. The parents, obviously, are not being trusted for all these things anymore, so the state will take over. That doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound good at all. And now, as I wrote, this bill is basically setting up the population of California for state regulatory agencies to fill in the blanks later, to make specific controls out of the vague generalities in the bill. Get it? I hope you do. This is how, and I recognize this, I'm still taking you through the steps here. This is how laws frequently work in society, at the state level, the federal level, and so forth. The law itself is full of generalities, and then it's left to the agency of the government who will enforce that law to frame 400, 500, 1,000 pages of specific regulations that fill in the blanks. And quite frequently, these regulations go against the sense or the spirit or even the meaning of the law. In this case, what would happen up the road is medical health services, optimal well-being, all of this would be defined. For example, it could be determined that children must receive 30, 40, 50, 60 vaccines. They must take psychiatric drugs without parental consent. And they can be diagnosed with mental disorders as early as age 3, 4, which is already happening. We could have a situation where the state decides to regulate the diet of children. You believe as parents in vegan diet, no good. Paleo, macrobiotic, nope. Vegetarian, nope. Not good, not good. Or, on the other side of the coin, suppose the state decides can't eat junk food. Nope. If your child weighs more than X amount of pounds, calculated against his or her age, then these foods are denied. A lot of people won't like that. No choice, in other words. No, we don't want to have choice because we know what's best for you and we can define health and you have to obey. And even if it starts to make sense to you, okay, we're going to outlaw sugary sodas in California. No child may drink these. You have, or we'll leave them, but you have to show an ID card that you're over the age of 18 in order to buy a can of soda. Oh, some parents say, that's a great idea. I'm so glad the state intervened here and so forth. Yeah, really? Because one step of removing choice leads to another. So, okay, I read all this. I saw what's happening here. Not good, not good. But let's go further here. What about the money? Is there money involved here? Who's behind this bill? Is it just Richard Pan by himself? Has he got a few colleagues that are sponsoring this? You know, what's going on? So, I looked again at the bill, read through it, and then I found out there's another bill, which is called a companion bill, not in the California Senate, but in the Assembly, the other house of the legislature, which is very specific in one respect. It refers to a group called the Peninsula Partnership Leadership Council. And it states that this council has already written a Children's Bill of Rights, and the law or the bill under consideration is saying, yes, this is the model, this is what we want, this is the framework, this is the pattern, this is the story, this is what we're doing. We are sticking to the Children's Bill of Rights written by that group. The what? Let me go back to that. The who? The Peninsula Partnership Leadership Council. What in the world is that? All right, so let's go investigate. Let's go to their website. Let's read about them. And so I discovered that they are described on the San Mateo County Office of Education website. That's curious. One piddling little California county is fronting for this enormous bill in the state Senate and the Assembly. So let's see now. On the San Mateo County Office of Education, I learned that the Peninsula Partnership Leadership Council is composed of the San Mateo County Superintendent of Schools, big deal, the County Board of Supervisors, who cares, and the Silicon Valley Community Foundation. Boom, bang, pow, zow. Pay dirt for this reporter. Because, as I discovered, the Silicon Valley Community Foundation is a nonprofit group that has assets of, wait for it, $7.3 billion. It runs 1,800 philanthropic funds. What? They are behind this? And here are some of their corporate partners: Alexa Pharmaceuticals, Microsoft, PepsiCo Foundation, Cisco, Hewlett-Packard, Dell, Symantec, Unilever, and others. Pharmaceuticals, high-tech, very high-tech, Silicon Valley. And for some reason, this huge foundation is pushing a Children's Bill of Rights that is now reflected in a new California bill, SB 18, that will essentially make the state the top dog controlling force over all children in California. Well, of course, you can bet that these corporate partners will figure out a way to reap profits out of that. But to go further, and we need to go further, what are we really looking at here? I've spoken about this before on this show. We are looking at Technocracy Inc., so to speak, because these high-tech companies and their engineers and scientists are trained to believe that society should be a planned society. They're not asking you to say okay to this, or to vote on it, or to do anything about their future plan for society. In the scope of technocracy, this is the way it works. Scientists claim that they can plan out the future beyond any politics at all. You see, we know what's best, and we work for the greatest, go to the greatest number, and we will plan out essentially all the moves on the chessboard of society. Who fits in where? Who eats, who doesn't eat? Who has water, who doesn't have water? What they can eat, what kind of medical care they must have, etc., etc. All for the good of all, of course, by their plan. And it even eventually comes down to energy consumption. In other words, in their fanatical pursuit of a utopia, brave new world, call it what you will, they believe that every human should have a set limit, quota, on energy consumption for the good of the planet, you see. And that means not only how much energy you use in your car or in your home through heating and so on and so forth, but in the products you buy, how much energy went into the production of those products. That's factored in. And so eventually the plan is the technocratic plan that up the line, even this will be monitored. And a little beep will go off when your monthly allocation of energy has exceeded the ceiling that you're permitted. And I'm describing this because, yes, it's extreme, but it's involved in Technocracy Inc.'s plan. And what we are actually looking at here, and what I saw when I read the list of corporate partners here, is a step in the direction of this coming technocracy, which doesn't care about who is the governor, who sits in the Senate or the Assembly, or any bureaucrats or politicians. All they care about is gaining acceptance for their basic premise, which is, look, we're doing science. Science is infallible. Science plans for the future. We know how to plan, therefore we will. We will run the way society should be run through, quote, science, and through engineering and through technology, because that's the world we're now living in, and we can do it. We can do it. So, here's a big step in California. You wouldn't see it if you didn't know to look for it. Every child, let's start with the children, under control of the state. Under control of the state. Every aspect of a child's life. You know about Child Protective Services, that agency that can take kids away and put them in foster homes? Well, how about this? Somebody living somewhere in California, two parents who have beliefs or ideas that are outside the norm, that are outside of the technocratic plan, rebels, outliers, conspiracy theorists, get a visit from Child Protective Services. We have information leading us to believe that you are raising your child in an improper manner and filling his head with ideas that shouldn't be there. Therefore, we're issuing you a warning now, but we will be back soon to do a further investigation. If we find that you're still filling your child's head with these ideas, then we can take the child and put the child in foster care. You're a homeschooler? Oh, that's automatically a red flag. Why are you not sending your children to school? We believe in the socialization of children. You're isolating your child. You should be with other children of all backgrounds and economic classes and so forth to learn to integrate into society, the great plan. We can't have that. We have to eliminate homeschooling. Not okay, et cetera, because we're planning the future of the state of California or the country or the world, but we're looking at California right here. This is actually what's going on behind the scenes. This is the way it works. These giant corporations who are sponsors of this gigantic foundation, the Silicon Valley Community Foundation, would not be the slightest bit interested in this Children's Bill of Rights at all, if it weren't for the fact that they see this as an opening to forward their basic mindset. This is what I'm trying to make you understand, that all those people have a mindset about planning society, looking at the whole and deciding how all the parts need to fit. That's the way they operate. They operate like that in business. They operate like that in science. So they assume blithely, well, society and civilization are really the same way. You want a conspiracy? This is a conspiracy. Technocracy, Inc. is a gigantic conspiracy. You've heard of sustainable development, the smart grid, Agenda 21, community organizations throughout the United States that are already planning land use. You've heard of all these buzz terms. Perhaps you investigate some of this and understand it better. This is all part of the technocratic future that is being planned. And in order for this to work, the state actors in governments, the city governments, the county governments, the federal government, they all have to be on this page because they are going to be doing enforcement. They are going to be doing legislation, and it's going to look as harmless as the little section from SB 18 that I read to you at the beginning. It's going to look bland, empty, vapid. Who cares? That's the way it's planned. That's the way these things are done. The state is necessary as the cop in order to put into effect these, quote, scientific plans for the future. It used to be that when a kid went to college and started learning something of importance, that one of the fundamental distinctions that was made by a professor was the difference between science or fact, empirical knowledge, and value judgments. That distinction was made very clear. That value judgments about what is good for people, what they should do, how they ought to behave, what they should accept or reject, is a completely different arena from fact. But of course, because nobody in the liberal arts is really being educated at the college level anymore, that distinction is lost. Therefore, the technocrats can move in and they can say, value judgments, ethics? No. We don't traffic in any of that. We're just doing science. We know what's best for the greatest number of people. We can show you with algorithms and calculations and so forth what is best, and then we simply back it up by putting a plan into effect. That's their song and dance. That's their con game. That's the way they operate. But for an intelligent thinking person, the rejoinder would be, oh, really? You don't think that value judgments and statements about morality and ethics have any meaning on their own? That they shouldn't be made clear by people in power? That the population shouldn't have a chance to pass judgment on these things and to decide whether it wants to submit itself to rule by such judgments on what is good, bad, right, wrong, etc., etc.? No, we're not going for that. Absolutely not. We want to hear from you technocrats. Specifically, what are your values? What is your morality? What judgments are you making in advance about human beings and so on and so forth before we even want to look at your so-called science or your plan? But this is not happening, and it has to happen. And this whole issue needs to be opened up in a very, very huge way. Okay, I could go on, but I'm going to leave it here. SB 18 in California. Check it out.
John, let me jump in right here for a second before I let you go. As you probably read, Trump yesterday met with all of the power brokers from Silicon Valley over in Trump Tower. Do you think that the two are connected? It kind of feels like they are.
Yeah. I don't think he gets it on this level. He'd have to show me that he gets it for me to believe it. I think, he's thinking in terms of business. Okay, we want more jobs. That's what he's telling these people. We want more jobs in America. We want you to move ahead. You guys are great. I got your back. This is what he's saying. Keep on doing what you're doing and so forth and so on. And what he doesn't understand is that what they're doing is part and parcel of what I've been talking about here for the last half hour. And also, so is surveillance of the population, another aspect that these guys are very interested in and are making gigantic amounts of money off of.
Right.
Because surveillance is part and parcel of technocracy, because in order to plan the future of every human being, you have to be able to watch that human being and see everything that he does. So, no, I don't think Trump gets this at all. And I think that the technocrats at these high-tech institutions, corporations in California are sitting back and saying, yeah, we can create more jobs, but we've got the plan, baby, and we're not talking about that.
Interesting and scary at the same time. Thank you so much, John. And listen, my friend, have a great, safe rest of your weekend, and we'll be chatting. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Jon Rappoport, the No More Fake Newsroom. And that's where you need to, nomorefakenews.com. That's where you need to start your day every single day. I say it all the time. That's where you need to go. nomorefakenews.com. Jon Rappoport. All right, it's Thursday night. It's Fader Night. Fake news. That's what we're going to talk about when we come back after this break. 323-825-5045. Let's crank it up. It's Thursday. It's your night. I'll be right back.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Hello, I'm Kat Deely, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
How you doing? It's Jimmy here from Zipa. Today I wanted to tell you about my efforts to achieve global elimination of snoring. It all starts with respect. Respect for yourself and respect for others. Listen, you think you're being a nice guy or a nice girl by letting the guy or girl next to you sleep and snore every night. It's the ultimate disrespect to have that happen. You wake that person up and you tell them, go to Zipa.com now. ZYPPAH .com. We're not going to tolerate this, all right? Snoring is not okay. Someone next to you is snoring, you tell them to buy a Zyppah. ZYPPAH.com. I know that you listen to these snoring things and you're thinking, well, it don't apply to me. I don't have these problems. A lot of people are in denial, but it's true. Listen, if you're snoring, you got to stop it. What you got to do is get this fixed. Get a Zyppah and change your life. ZYPPAH.com.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're of the Honey Brothers. Well, yes. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129 and use the promo code JCRTWS and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to JimmyChurchRadio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Teppy.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back, Fade to Black. It's Thursday night. It is Fader night. Taking your calls all night long. 323-825-5045. Now, talking about fake news, and that has been 2 buzzwords, right? Fake news. For... oh, man, the better part of 6 months. Certainly heated up the last 2 months. Really got hot the last 2 weeks. Fake news. And I'm looking here. Mark just tweeted in, what happens if Jimmy Church Radio is determined as fake news? Great question. But this is the thing, and I need to comment on this. Us here at Fade to Black, we vet everything. You've never heard me comment or spread a fake news story. Just, first off, for some reason, I see 3D. I look at something, I can just tell. And so there's that part of it. The second thing is, it's one thing to show a photograph or a video of something strange in the sky and say, what is this? All right? That's not spreading fake news, or talking about a conspiracy theory with ISIS or the Fourth Reich or Project Paperclip or the secret space program. That's different. Totally different. Life on Mars, people living on Mars. You know what? That's different. It's a totally different thing. That is research, and that is wonderment and inquisitiveness. That's what's going on there. It's a whole nother thing when you name names and you make something up and you're spreading fake news. That is different. Big difference. And I've never done it here. I've never done something that wasn't vetted 2 or 3 times. And trust me, you can ask anybody that's involved with the news that we do here. I have said, and I have gone back and said, wait a minute. Okay, good story. Give me 2 more. Give me 2 more sources on this, and then we'll run with it. And if they come back with 2 more sources, and I'll take another look at it, and that's how things get determined. But I just won't do it. I will not do it. I won't. Am I a little nervous, about what we do over on our Facebook page now? That everything is going to get glanced at? Everything that we do over there is on the up and up. It's legit. That's all. All right, let's go to the phones. Let's see who's up first here. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
Hello?
You're live.
Let me check my radio here, Jimmy, just a second. Hi, Jimmy. It's Damon from Lee Summit.
Hey, Damon from Lee Summit. Where's Lee Summit?
Suburb of Kansas City.
Oh, suburb of Kansas City. There you go, man. How you doing?
Good. If you recall, I was the one with a dollar bill from the aliens.
Oh.
Or time traveler.
Yes. How you doing, man?
Pretty good. I had a rock and roll story for you real quick.
Sure.
Because I know we're both old rockers and we're from the same generation.
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you remember the James Gang?
Of course.
Okay. Do you remember when Joe Walsh was getting ready to leave the James Gang?
I do remember the transition. Okay.
Okay. My question for you, Jimmy, is who did Joe Walsh recommend replacing?
Oh, who did he recommend replacing him? Ooh.
Let me know if you need a hint.
Hold on now. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Joe Walsh recommending. Oh, man, I'm such a big Joe Walsh guy, too. All right.
This guitarist is just as good as he was, though, Jimmy, so.
What's that?
He's no slouch.
What's that?
The guitarist that replaced Joe in the band is no slouch. He was probably just as good as Joe. So.
Okay, so give me one hint.
Okay, he did a song in 1976 called Teaser.
Oh, no, that doesn't ring a bell. Okay, who was it?
Tommy Bolin.
Oh, really? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
He played on 1974 Bang album.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. Love
and
Tommy
Bolin. He played
Bolin.
on the following album, 75, Miami.
Tommy was one of those dudes that guitar players really looked up to, and we knew all about him, and he never got what he deserved. Never did, man. Tommy Bolin never got what he... And you know what? The other thing is about Tommy Bolin, dude looked rock and roll. You know what I'm saying? He played, man, he was a great player, but he looked like a rock star. And he just never got his due, Guitar players know who he is. The rest of the world just never did. Never did.
Well, look, Jimmy, I mean, he started out in Zephyr, and then he went to the James Gang, and then later Deep Purple, and then he kind of had his own band, which I saw, and check this out. I saw Tommy Bolin in August of 1976 at Old Mile High Stadium in Denver, Colorado. And he opened for Peter Frampton at that concert.
Right.
Yeah, and this was the big seller for Frampton. Frampton Comes Alive.
Right.
I mean, it's triple platinum or whatever.
Yeah, I saw that tour. I saw that tour.
I never heard Tommy play so beautiful. I mean, I had all those albums.
Right.
But, singing live, in that altitude.
Right.
There was something about that sound effects that day that just blew everybody away. Everybody was just having a super time, and music was great. And, man.
Yeah, totally. One day I'll tell my Peter Frampton story when I saw him live in 77.
Maybe I don't want to. I had another story for you, but I don't want to be off topic. So
all right.
I do have a comment on the fake news.
Yeah, really quick. I've got a bunch of phone calls lined up.
I hear you. Yeah, I think Facebook is kind of like overstepping their boundaries. And then I've seen today on Facebook that Snopes.com is one of their sources.
Yep.
That place is. I mean, that's not a legitimate news source, if you ask me. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, that's such a tough call. and Snopes has had so much written about them too as well, and it's a really tough call. But for some reason, Snopes has been the go-to when it comes to, is it fake? Well, let's ask Snopes, right? And then everybody, that's like the definitive barometer these days. And I don't know how they got into that position. I really don't. I mean, all of these rumors out there that, it's a husband and wife team in a one-bedroom apartment in North Hollywood, there's some truth to that, I guess. I don't know. I would think that the amount of website traffic going through there, I don't think that they're in a one-bedroom apartment anymore, and I would seriously doubt that it is just two people running that entire organization. But then again, it could be just two. I don't know. But how they've gotten themselves into this kind of position of credibility that Zuckerberg is putting their name out in a statement, that you're elevating yourself to a whole nother level. And so I don't know. I don't know. Associated Press, it's a tough call. I do think that I'm going to stand by what I said in my opening statement tonight.
Yeah, I heard you. Yeah, I hear you.
Which is this: if Facebook would have, and especially back when they were private, before they went public, but if Facebook in the beginning would have monitored all of this, right, and people knew from the word go that you couldn't post fake news stuff on Facebook because it would get taken down. And there was this line in the sand, then no harm, no foul, right? But now they're playing catch up. Now they're 10, 15 years behind the ball on this, and now it's damage control and it smells like censorship. But back in the beginning, if everybody knew, you can't post fake news stuff because it's not right, it's going to get pulled down, and that was the rules from the word go. That's it. We would have laughed about this stuff today, but it's not that kind of party right now. It's a different world, and this fake news stuff has gotten out of control. They are guilty of a lot of things. I'm talking about Facebook directly. When I call it, nobody has used these words before, but I just had to do it today. The 2016, the year of the fake news gold rush. It's that's exactly what was going on. Opportunist, the entrepreneurial side of people are going to take advantage of a situation where there is money to be made. And once people started sniffing around and they found out that, hey, these clicks are invisible. These advertisers don't know. There's just thousands of clicks that are possible here. And all we've got to do is just wake up in the morning and take a pull off of a bong and think of the craziest thing that we can. And let's type it up, right? Let's post it and let's get it out there and let's get some clicks. And the next thing you know, when we're talking about, and this is something that is not made up. When we're talking about kids, kids here in the United States, kids around the world that are doing this, that are, what? If you're 16, 17, 18 years old, 20 years old, 30, doesn't even matter, and you've suddenly figured out a way to make a couple of grand a day, and you don't have to leave your house, and you can just sit on your couch and Xbox, and play video games, and then every couple of hours crank out a news story for 5 minutes, and then post it and watch everything PayPal its way into your checking account, and you're just watching this go bing, 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 bing all day. People are going to figure out a way to get that done. And now, Zuckerberg's response to this and Facebook's response back to this, it's after the fact. So now it smells like censorship. And the other part, this is what's nuts. Is there are millions of people right now that still think that stuff was true, right? So they are thinking censorship for real. They're like, man, they're censoring. they were suing George Soros for $1 billion in a federal court because he wore pink shoes, right? Whatever these stories are, right? but they believe it. They believe that somebody is suing. Whatever. I'm just making it up. It doesn't matter. But that's how sensationalistic this stuff is, and there's people out there that believe it, and they may not. And this is what's even crazier. They may not even know about the fake news backlash that is coming down right now. They click through. They look at other stuff. They don't look at the headlines that we look at, right? They're looking at for a different set of stuff, and they have a different belief system, and that's it. And
You're spot on, brother.
And so they feel like we're holding people back, So anyway, listen, I got to get to some more phone calls here. And
hey, Jimmy, just something real quick. Next week, you can tell me about Peter Frampton, and I'll tell you a UFO story. How's that sound?
You got it. Deal's on. I'll see you next Thursday.
Thanks, Jimmy.
You got it.
Have a good one.
You too. Good night. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling? Turn me down in the background. 3, 2, 1. You're live.
Hello.
Okay, that took 30 seconds. Turn me down in the background.
Turn it down. Sorry.
Okay, there we go. Who's calling?
My name's Dale Triplett.
Hey, Dale. How are you?
I'm doing outstanding, man. So you just doing a recording now, Jimmy?
What's that?
You doing a recording now of just what's playing live?
No, this is live.
Oh, holy crap! Sorry. No, I'm a former newspaper journalist myself.
Okay.
And the whole fake media thing is kind of, not kind of. It's been an absolute just trimmer and everything. But I think there's a whole lot more to it when you get down to a local basis. When I was in a small town paper,
right,
in Branson, Missouri.
Okay.
And so much of what we were allowed to put into print,
right,
was based upon what would disgruntle the tourists, what would set them apart. If I wrote some article about a local police chief getting fired because of some element of indiscretion, I got fired the next day if it ran, because that was something that would disgruntle the locals. And then I get rehired again because they didn't have anybody within 3 counties that could write a complete sentence, and I'd go back. And I got fired, I think, 5 times from the local paper.
Okay.
A few times we'd have like an airplane crash or something of significance that the bigger media outlets would pay attention to. And we had to push those on up to the AP, so we had to be really, really careful and about how we worded things. And hey, we're getting some attention from the big boys.
Right.
But it was always a matter of who controlled the money, who held the paper itself, who was dictating what anybody else was seeing.
Well, as a publisher or an editor of a paper, you do have, and you're a writer, so you know this directly, you still have control over, it's your decision on what you want to print and what, that's it. I mean, some want to do religion, some want to do politics, some want to do sports. Sports Illustrated does not have to do stories on religion. It's what they want to publish. So with the local,
the content is always dictated,
right.
And
but the
it's
question,
always dictated by the powers that be.
That's right, exactly. There's nothing wrong with that. The question is, were they creating fictitious news? That's the question, and that's where we get into a really, really strange area. Somebody just
you can see the fictitious element on any element of even the mainstream media every day.
Oh, sure you can.
You see it's a slow news day in L.A. and there's a friggin' car wreck and it happens to be near some place that's volatile. So the choppers are going to hover close to that and they want the carnage.
Right.
And they're waiting for something else to come across the scene that's gonna detract a little bit more attention.
Right, of course. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. There's none. And so what do you think?
The subterfuge, you're talking about the teams, and I have to argue with that a little bit because being a copywriter and being a guy that's worked in advertising and marketing for years, it's not an easy thing to make a living as a guy writing stuff. And for a kid sitting back on his Xbox and to get back and then to go out and make some fictitious news story, I never saw the viability of that. I would have jumped on that living in metropolitan areas and stuff later on in life. I would have absolutely jumped on that to take advantage of it. It's still controlled by higher powers and by publishers and by whoever controls the overall element of the fifth estate.
Yes. You're absolutely right with that. But my fear is this checklist that is going through Facebook right now, and I want to thank you for the phone call, by the way, that now that some real news is going to get suppressed just because somebody doesn't like somebody. And that's where we get a little bit into a dicey area. But what was your name again?
My name is Dale.
Dale. Listen, Dale Triplett. Thank you so much for the phone call and awesome points, all of them. Thank you so much.
Hey, I appreciate it, and you have a great evening, brother.
Yeah, you too, Dale. Thank you. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
Hey, Jimmy, it's Corey. How's it going?
Hey, Corey, how you doing?
Good. I have maybe a little bit different perspective on this fake news thing. I did get burned one time on Twitter. I hate it as bad as anybody, but I truly do see it as an infringement on our First Amendment. And let me tell you why. So let's say I had all the keys to free energy. I had all that technology. Maybe my grandfather, came up with it. And I've been holding it all this time. And I came to a Jimmy Church or somebody and I said, post this everywhere. Because, if you try and patent it and you try and do all that, they'll just suppress it.
Okay.
Well, that's going to become a huge news story. We all know our government and everyone else does not want that out there. So if we're talking about suppressing fake news and you have something that's really true like that you need to get out quickly to the public, you're in a real quandary. Just want to know what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah, again, that's where we're on this slippery slope. We're on this slippery slope. The thing that I think that what Zuckerberg is trying to rope in and rein in is fake news that is generated when you name names and just make stuff up. Okay, whether I'm not going to say Clinton or Trump. I'm not going to go there, but because that's part of it. But it could be anything, such as let me ask you this, Corey. What kind of car do you drive?
I drive a Ford F-250.
Okay, you drive a Ford F-250.
Truck.
And you write up a news story that says my Ford F-250 lit on fire and my dog died. Right, all of Ford 250s now, and then you name in the article that because of this, the president of Ford, whatever his name is, Bob Jones, is now being sued by Consumer Reports. I'm just making stuff up, right? For $500 million. Well, just let me finish though, and then you say that all salesmen at Ford dealerships that are selling Fords know about this, and they hope, they hate dogs, and they hope that your dogs are going to burn up, and that's their goal, right? It's just some crazy, just insane thing, right? right?
Yep.
That's fake news. That would be that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about something completely fictitious that names names. And now, what if somebody who's a dog lover walks into a Ford dealership, looks for the first salesman that he sees because he read your article, and now he thinks that Ford salesmen are puppy killers, and he goes in and beats up somebody with a baseball bat? Right?
Sure, it goes. It's the same thing as the whole Pizzagate.
Well, I'm not. Again,
pathetic.
That's one. That right there is just one little example of something that, if you look across the way that people have been inflamed over these crazy stories about anything, and we can go on and on about this. That's where I draw the line. You've got to be very, very, very careful. And the other part of this, and let me tell you something, Corey. This is where the whole fake news thing, right, whether you believe it or not, the problem with it is that now it's the boy who cried wolf. Because with a story that is so important, like pedophilia, that is the craziest thing. Child pornography is the most insane thing in the world. The thought of that, because I have kids too as well, the thought of that going on, nothing inflames me more. Nothing. I couldn't
agree with you more.
Now, and this is but Corey, let me finish, please, brother. Is this that story needs to be talked about and is important, right? It is. But with the fake news that is going on out there, then the real news like pedophilia and child pornography and things like that, the stuff that needs to be investigated, the other people out there go, well, everything is fake. So now it now comes down on the real subject, won't get talked about because of the other fake stuff that has been out there. So nobody's going to believe anything. And that's the damage that is done. That's why you need to be very, very careful about this stuff on what you report, what you believe. Go in and look at it a little bit before you go, because now it is the boy who cried wolf. And nobody's going to believe anything that anybody says now. And that's what's really, really important here. People need to really stop and look at themselves. When you go and you start pointing fingers at people, and one thing is fake and one thing is real, but the fake thing is always going to make everything else fake. It's just like when you get on the stand in court, and if you tell the truth on 99 questions and you lie about one, you're a liar. And those other 99 facts that were up there that was so important about this case, they throw all of that stuff out. And it's the same thing here. We need to be very, very careful, man. This fake news stuff, it may be fun to read and all of that, but it ruins everything else for us. All these child pornography is a big friggin' deal, man. Pedophilia and these rings, and I don't doubt that the elite have a satanic cult thing that's going on, or whatever you want to call it. I'm sure that it does, right? But if you go and you spread fake news about it, then it just kills it for everything. All that hard work and everything that everybody's trying to do on this gets thrown out the window. And that's what I want everybody to realize. Hey, Corey, we went right up to a break, my brother. Thank you for the phone call.
Appreciate it very much. You bet.
You got it.
I think we agree on most of that.
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely, Corey. You have a great, safe rest of your weekend, my friend.
You too. Thanks. See you later.
This is Fade to Black. It's Thursday night. It is Fader Night. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. 323-825-5045. I'll be right back.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
You get a Zipa. You get a Zipa, you hear me?
What's the name when you snort? It's Zipa, Zipa. It's the thing we're craving for. It's Zipa, Zipa. You can sleep all night. Zipa, Zipa. And wake up feeling right. It's Zipa, Zipa. Makes me love my husband more. 'Cause he no longer snores. Zipa, Zipa. It's Zipa, Zipa.
Zipa's different than any other device because it actually works. A lot of these other devices, they just bring the jaw forward. That's it. However, the thing that makes Zipa different, it stabilizes the tongue, basically, with this elastic band. But right here, Jimmy's telling you that this is a unique device. Go to Zipa now, buy it, and stop the snoring. Get a Zipa, ZYPPAH.com. Zipa.com. That's ZYPPAH.com.
Oh, fall. My favorite time of year. Cooler temperatures and, well, let's be honest, layers. Lots and lots of layers. Look, I get it. We all have that favorite hoodie. Matter of fact, I've got a few favorite hoodies. You should wear yours. Enjoy it. I do. But I stay focused on my health year-round. And for me, I take Nature's Youth RSF from nature'syouth.com. Nature's Youth RSF from nature'syouth.com. I eat right, control my portion sizes, still maintain a commitment to regular fitness, and I get plenty of rest, and I take Nature's Youth RSF. It's okay to cover up your beach body for a few months, but don't just forget about it. Nature's Youth understands exactly what it means to provide top-quality health products, and Nature's Youth customers not only improve their health, they know they're also providing their body with the right nourishment to maintain peak performance levels and fight the aging process. So layer up and get started today with Nature's Youth RSF. nature'syouth.com. Simple to use, even simpler to order. Go to nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Thursday night, Fader Night. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. Hashtag F2BQ, Fade to Black questions. And there's a lot of good ones here, and I'm going to get to it. And one of them is the obvious. And if you're on hold, stay right there. Okay, just relax. I'll get to you. What about the tabloids? What about the tabloids, Jimmy? The tabloids. You're in line at the supermarket and you glance down and Hillary is having an alien baby. Is that fake news, right? The headline. Is this. First off, if you're going to believe what you read in the Enquirer or the Star News or whatever, I don't even remember what those, is the Enquirer even around anymore? I saw one the other day. I almost picked it up. I was going to bring it home. But is this, that's their own paper. That's their own thing. That's it. I think we all accept it as satire and entertainment, but it's also their own. And I'll say this, all of these fake news sites out there like, 21st Century Wire and, the Free Thought Project, there's so many. I've got it, anonymousnews.co, privateeye.co.uk, Hustlers, right? Infowars.com is listed, too, as a fake news website. I've got the list here. It's kind of funny. Breitbart. That's a bit different because you are now using somebody else's platform. if any of these news sites that I've just listed here, if they wanted to print up their own magazine, they can do whatever they want. That's different. That is a freedom of speech issue. If you are publishing and you have a magazine and it's being printed by another publisher, right? Somebody above that, and you're using their distribution network and everything else, and they go, hey, wait a minute, your stuff is fake. We can't stand behind it. We're not going to distribute your ragazine anymore. That's their decision. And this is the same position that Facebook has now, or anybody else. It's that you got to remember, this is Facebook's website, or anybody else. If you're submitting fake news to a website, and it could be, pick somebody, just pick somebody. Fade to Black. If you feed Fade to Black a fake story, we don't have to run with it. You're going to put a gun to our head or something? You're going to force us to do it? No, we're going to say, no, we're not going to distribute fake news. That's all. It's our decision. And it's the same thing with Facebook. All right. So you don't have any freedom of speech on Facebook. Look, you do hate speech or foul language and you get kicked off of Facebook. It's their decision. They don't want that there. There's other places you can go on the net where you can say whatever you want. Go to Reddit. Go to 4chan. Hey, go to town. All right? And even then, you get kicked off. But that's the way that it works. So, what about the tabloids? I've just explained it. If you want to go start your own fake news magazine, you can do that. Go get a printing press. Go hire somebody. Print it out. If you think you can sell it, sell it. Nobody's going to shut you down. You're protected. That's a freedom of speech issue. You are allowed to do that. Now, if you print something that's fake and it's proven as fake and you've damaged somebody, you're going to get sued. It happens all the time, doesn't it? Right? And that's where you need to be careful. And that's my whole take on this. All right, I've ranted long enough on that. Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
Hi, Jimmy. It's Danny from the Pacific Northwest.
Danny from the Pacific Northwest, from an undisclosed location. How you doing, Danny?
I'm doing really good, Jimmy. Nice to talk to you.
What's on your mind?
I was thinking about the Facebook thing and how Facebook, for so many of the users, I don't use it myself, but for the people that do use it, the idea of privacy has been completely bankrupted. They don't think about their privacy. They don't think about their friends' privacy. They tag their friends in photographs and improve the algorithms for identification and things like that. So in a way, people have been conditioned by Facebook to not value privacy.
Right.
Now they're going to start conditioning them to not think that there's anything wrong with censorship. So Facebook is doing a lot of social engineering just by coining the idea of fake news, and now we're going to censor it and protect you because you can't protect yourself, that type of thing. So that's just my take on it.
I don't. My feeling is, look, just like how we treat Fade to Black, right? If I was Zuckerberg and that was my company, and I have a certain sense of, I'm not defending Zuckerberg. I'm saying if I was in position and this was going on, I would clamp down on it. I really would. I would clamp down on it because it takes away from, there are people out there that literally depend on Facebook for their news source, right? That's a crazy responsibility. They're not going to CNN, or they're not going to their local, affiliate, or their local, they just go to Facebook and they're on Facebook all day long. They don't go to they don't do anything. And news is coming in on their timeline, and stuff is being fed into them, and that's where they're getting their news. Look, when somebody dies, or there's a plane crash, or there's an earthquake, or there's some breaking news, it breaks on Facebook, man, right? It does. People are sitting there and they hear something has happened. Maybe their maybe their house starts to shake, and they're like, holy crap, just had an earthquake. Boom. Right? They're on Facebook, just had an earthquake. And people get their news from there first. Well, if you're getting fake news that's coming in, now what's going to stop somebody from doing something crazy and start, just posting? Well, they've been going through that, but now what if there's somebody posts something with a plane crash picture in it and says that a plane just crashed into downtown Chicago and it's terror, whatever. But it's fake. That's what I'm talking. People will read that, believe it, and react to it. So he's just trying to rope it in. It should have been dealt with from the very, very beginning, because then we wouldn't be talking about censorship right now. We wouldn't, because it would have already been established on Facebook that you just can't post fake news stories. Only real stuff gets through. And if you get caught, there's a certain decorum when it comes to the news and newsrooms, and this really needs to be driven home. The when you're a journalist and you're dealing with a news director, somebody that's above you, and you go and submit a story, and you've done this, and you hand it to him, he's going to look at you and say, okay, here's this. Now, I need a list of all of your sources. We need to do some fact-checking, because everything that we release here needs to be correct, because our reputation is on the line. That's different. That is how news used to be done. Okay? And if you're a journalist that taints a news story, and you have fantastic claims in this news story, and you get caught, you get fired. And once you're on that blacklist, you're not going to another newspaper. You're never going to get hired again. If you want a good example of fake news, you really want, go see the movie Shattered Glass. Go see that movie. It's a true story, and it's exactly what I'm talking about right now, about a journalist that was faking his facts in news, and for a magazine or two in Washington, D.C., and he got caught. He's unemployed, man, today. Well, he might be employed somewhere, but you're never going to get back off of that, and that's what I'm talking about here. There's a difference between fake news and real news, and your stuff, when you submit it as a journalist, you need to have your quotes and who you got the quotes from. In most cases, you need to have tapes of those conversations. You need to have a list. You need to have all of your facts in a row, where you got it, and those get vetted, and it gets handed off to somebody, and they do fact checking. Somebody else is fact checking your article. You can't fact check your own article. You only submit your information, right? Do you understand what I'm saying?
That's the way it works. Yes, I understand how that works. And there, a lot of reporters have lost their jobs. They've even been at the point where they're on the verge of getting a Pulitzer, only to have the news story fall out from underneath them because of the intense research that's been put into it. But for people that read the Internet, or that are on the Internet at all, they have a duty to protect themselves. What in the world would make them think that anything they saw on Facebook or any other news source for that matter is news without doing research for it like you and I do? I was listening to PBS yesterday, and they were interviewing people in Aleppo about the ceasefire, and some of the people were saying, no, ISIS is killing not the civilians, us. They were interviewing supposed civilians. And then another news source is saying, no, it's the Assad government that's killing us in the ceasefire. So you're going, well, which one do you believe? Which are they killing civilians or not killing civilians? Who's killing civilians? What, that side or this side? And so that took research for my own self to go into and figure out what was going on. And I'm still at a loss today. I couldn't tell you one way or the other who's killing who over there.
Right. I know. And that's exactly what we're talking about. And I want to thank you for the phone call, but that's exactly what we're talking about here. I've been so vocal about this over the last year, and I was watching the rise of this, and I was getting stuff sent to me every single day, and I would just look at it, and I would see through it. But, and I'm watching Twitter, and I'm watching Facebook, and I'm watching my email and just stuff and text and things coming in. And I would take one look at it and go, come on, really? But the people that are sending this stuff to me, or the people that are sharing it, are people that I know are very smart, and if they're getting suckered into it, so is everybody else. So there you go. What's that? What? Yeah, I got it. Thank you for the phone call, and there you go. I've got a couple of other things I got to get to really quick, but thank you for the phone call. What was your name again?
Danny.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, Jimmy.
There you go. Sheriff Jon Rappoport, Obama's birth certificate is a forgery, press conference, 12/15/16, YouTube. His Sheriff Pro proves, okay. Oh man. All right. I'm going to look at all of this. It just came in. I've got three of these coming in right now. I'm going to check this out on the break and look into this and come back after the break. If somebody else knows anything about this, Jon Rappoport, the famous sheriff from Phoenix, Arizona, has got a press conference right now. The Obama's birth certificate is fraudulent, and we've got interesting. Okay, I'm going to go and look at all of this and see what's going on with that. Where was I? I was just somewhere else with all of this. Back to Stephen Glass, Shattered Glass. If you haven't seen this movie, and you've ever wondered what journalism is and fact-checking is all about, and why I am such a stickler when it comes to this stuff. Stephen Glass, his name is Stephen Randall Glass. Real dude. He was an American paralegal and journalist, former journalist. Back in 1998, it was revealed that many of his published articles were fabrications. That's what the movie is about. Over a 3-year period as a young rising star at the New Republic, right? Glass invented quotations. He invented sources and events in his articles he wrote about for the magazine and other magazines too as well. And most of his articles were of the entertainment type, and they were kind of funny. Some were based entirely on fictional events. Several seem to endorse negative stereotypes about ethnic and political groups. He had a degree in law from Georgetown University, and things were good in his career. And he just started making this stuff up about hackers and just crazy stories that it turned out, like this hacker convention that he had gone to and this young kid. It's a long story. But as it turned out, as they never fact-checked him. And so they go to the hotel where this supposed hackers convention went to, and they found out that there was no convention there. It never happened. And he had just made up everything. Right? And that's fake news. You can't do that. You cannot. And in the world of news and in the world of journalism, this is the one thing that is paramount. Vet your sources, vet the article, fact check everything, and make sure that the reputation of us is in good standing. Because one little thing can bring down the whole house. And we can't do that. You don't want to have your competition pointing fingers at you. And I'll say this again. The one thing that about Fade to Black, which is so important to me, it's so important. Nobody can come back and point at us as being an originator of something. You know, that we knew something was fake, but we still reported it anyway. It ain't going to happen. It will never, ever, ever happen. And there are reasons why I have been so staunch about this. You know I did that rant a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and I was getting fired up about it. But it's just because I want everybody out there to understand one thing. Integrity is everything. It's absolutely everything. Right? And if you guys are out there, anybody is out there listening or is reading stuff, and they turn around and they listen to this show, and then they get their emotions backed up, they're like, well, man, church said it too, so it's got to be real. You know, I'm not going to be part of that. I'm just not. I'm not going to be part of it. I need to go to bed at night. I need to know that I've been honest and true. And the other part with all of this fake news stuff, right? All of it is that if one little piece, one little stupid little thing is wrong, then everything else that we are trying to talk about here, which is disclosure and conspiracy theories and the paranormal and cryptozoology. We did a great show last night on Bigfoot, right? If we start sharing in fake news on this show, then everything else that we talk about here, everything else, people laugh. And no. We need to stay on point. We need to stay on target and move this ship forward. We don't need to take a step back. That's it. Fake news is a big deal. It is such a, when I go and I look at these comments, well, who cares? I'm looking, John just said, who cares if they do that? What's wrong with that, Jimmy? What do you mean? That's if what you are saying with a comment like that, John, and I appreciate that because that's where we are today. I totally appreciate this view. So who cares? We've gotten so numb to it that now the attitude is, well, who cares? It's just fake news. No, man. Are you saying that if you are watching the news, if you're driving down the street in the car and you're listening to news on the radio, or if you pick up the newspaper, or you're wherever you're getting, and you don't care if what you are listening to is fake and made up? Really? Don't we depend on some semblance of the truth? It's coming from somewhere. And I know that Washington, D.C. has issues with telling the truth. And I know that the major networks have problems with listening to Washington and reporting on that verbatim instead of questioning things. I get all of that. But if you're saying we need to throw all of that out and now nothing matters, now that's a zone that you don't want to go into. That's a zone, man. We need to put the brakes on this. The one thing I can promise you, here on Fade to Black, no fake news. It ain't going to happen. Like this story right here. Today, NASA finally launched a group of small satellites that are going to be used to track extreme weather events down here on Earth. Right? That's a real news story. I think that's important. I think climate change is important. I think what's going on out there with that is important. Like I said 2 or 3 days ago, this launch isn't your regular launch pad liftoff. The 8 Cyclone Global Navigation Satellite System SATs were blasted into space by a Pegasus rocket that was dropped from an L-1011 jet up in the stratosphere. That's great news. And that's news that you need to hear. Right? That's news. Think about what I am trying to say. When I talk about drones, or Amazon has completed its first delivery by drone, that's news. That's news that affects you. Drones delivering pizzas is a big deal. Now, this was one delivery. It happened over in Cambridge, England. It was announced in a tweet, yesterday by Jeff Bezos. Apparently, Jeff was tweeting yesterday while he was meeting with Trump, and I thought that was pretty cool. And a video on Amazon's webpage shows the delivery and process. Kind of cool, a little invasion of privacy, a little creepy, but the quadcopter delivered a Amazon Fire TV box and a bag of popcorn to this guy identified as Richard B. And Amazon says that it's working with two customers receiving drone delivery, or 2 customers receiving drone deliveries, and they're expanding to dozens near its warehouse in Cambridge, right? Well, that's a big deal. That's a really, really big deal. I had talked about a month ago. What I think is going to kick off in 2017 with all of this drone delivery stuff, my opinion, is that the next stage, man, is going to be not hacking banks, hacking drones. If you can figure out how to hack in the Amazon drone delivery system, that diamond necklace that you get from Amazon Prime that you bought for your wife ain't going to end up at your house. It's going to end up with somebody else. It's going to drop to a car down the street. There goes your package. Well, anyway, this is news. Okay? And we need to try to figure out what is real and what is fake. When you're walking into a supermarket and you look down at the Star or you look down at the National Enquirer and you look at it, you already know it's fake. That's different, and they own it. They're printing it. You don't have to pick it up. You don't have to. Fake news popping up in your news feed or being distributed on the net through another news source or being masked as something real. And I'll give you another example, okay? Having abcnews.co or a website like that, cnn.co, is different. That is fake. That's plagiarism. That's wrong. That's impersonation. And the example would be this. What if you were walking up in the supermarket and you look down and you're checking out and you're in the checkout aisle and you look down and there's Time magazine and you pick it up and you throw it in and you're buying the new issue of Time and you get home and you start reading these crazy articles, man. Crazy stuff about whatever, make it up. The Fourth Reich, Nazis are taking over, and rah rah rah, and you know, Obama, you know, just fake stuff. And then you take another look, and it says Time up on the top, but maybe right below it says Time National News, and you're like, oh, I thought this was Time magazine because it looked like Time magazine, felt like Time magazine. Read like Time magazine. I thought I was buying Time magazine. But you didn't. Now, are you okay with that? No, of course you're not okay with that. So why would you be okay with going to a fake ABC News website or a fake ESPN website? Would you be okay? No, of course not. You would be offended. And that's what we're talking about here. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. It's Thursday night. It is Fader Night. 323-825-5045. 323-825-5045. We're talking about fake news. Going to find out about Joe Arpaio next.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal God, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
KGRA Radio. Intelligent talk.
You've probably heard about all the great benefits of goat milk soap. But did you know some companies take shortcuts? At Old New England Soap, we make our organic goat's milk soap using 36% goat's milk. That's 17% more than most others. Our bars are larger, so they last longer, producing lots of lather packed with vitamins. And our soap is a natural moisturizer that smooths dry and damaged skin. Order online at oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. You've tried the rest. Now try the best. oldnesoap.com.
Water-based soaps on supermarket shelves use harsh chemical acids to break down dead skin cells. And that's just not good for you. At Old New England Soap, our soaps are made without chemical ingredients, contain no alcohol or petroleum products, and use 85% organic materials and carry the USDA's organic certification. Try some today. Go to oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. oldnesoap.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on the smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
If you have sciatica, then you know all about the crippling pain that travels from your lower back down your leg when a spasm occurs. It's brutal. In fact, it's enough to take your breath away. Dr. Zhang's Sciatica Nerve Cream helps relieve persistent, shooting pains associated with the sciatic nerve in the lower back and legs. This natural, homeopathic cream contains the most potent ingredients to soothe even the most excruciating pain associated with sciatica. Stop the pain now. Ask for Dr. Zhang's Sciatica Nerve Cream at your local health food store or go online to trasknutrition.com.
Would you like relief from muscle pain, headaches, and discomfort to sleep better, have more energy during the day, and just feel naturally amazing? Fibromalic can help. Its blend of malic acid and magnesium can provide pain relief and comfort for those who experience fibromyalgia. It helps your body absorb more oxygen, and it works quickly for a significant reduction in pain within 48 hours, all without a prescription. Ask for Fibromalic at health and vitamin shops or shop fibromalic.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn
it. This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Thursday night, Fader night. Whatever. Joe Arpaio, apparently had this press conference today. Well, not apparently, he did. I missed it. That says his probe over 5 years proves that Obama's birth certificate is fake. And there it is, USA Today, CBS News, Hawaii News, ABC News. I can keep going on with this. AOL.com, Phoenix News Times, Rolling Stone. So there you go. I started to read a little bit of it during the break. Very interesting. It was attended by a very limited amount of reporters, apparently. Not that many felt like they were going to show up. About 40 people were at the news conference. That's what I read. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, Jimmy, it's John T. from Twitter. How's it going, man?
Hey, John T. from Twitter. That's pretty cool, man. You got, when you got a name like that, John T., there you go. It's like Madonna, John T. So what's cracking, man? How you doing?
What's that?
I said, how you doing?
Oh, hey, man, I'm good. But you made me call in because you called out one of my tweets, and I had to call in and straighten you out on some things.
Okay, well, you can try. You can try. That's what I'm here for. Oh, wait a minute. You're talking about the so who cares that they do that?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you don't care if you read fake news.
No, that's not actually correct. So what I was saying is I posted that in the context with which you were talking at the time, which was you were talking about kids taking bong rips and just making up stuff and getting up,
right,
posting stuff,
yep,
and making a couple of $1,000s a month doing this.
Right.
That's when I posted, what's wrong with that? Because in my mind, that's just people posting stuff. They're making stuff up. If people choose to believe that, well, that's on them.
But that's back to my point. Okay, people are gullible, number one. Number two, this is the thing. It's generating, I just went through the whole journalistic process of vetting and proving your facts are right. So you go and you start printing this fake news stuff, and then the real journalists out there that are working really hard, people are going to read their stuff and go, everything is fake, right? And that
I don't know.
I do.
I don't know, man.
I do.
Okay, because if the journalist has a process that they have to go through to vet news, and they pick up something from somebody who's making stuff up, well, that's on them. You hold yourself to journalistic integrity by checking sources, fact checking, and those sorts of things, and that's a standard that we out here in the public appreciate, because we do have to have some way to discern real news from fake news. But that's on the journalist.
John, you are right. You're 100% correct. Okay? But let me tell you where you need to bend a little bit and understand what I'm trying to say here. That's fine. Right. If you, John T., you want to have johnt.com, right? And you want to sit there and do your bong rips, right? And you want to go and write all the fake news that you want and post it on your own website, go to it, right? But you don't have the right to post that stuff on Facebook or somebody else's property. That's the right.
I agree that it's not a right.
Right.
I can try. I can try and exploit the system, and if Facebook shuts me down, that's okay, fine. But I think market forces will take care of that. I posted earlier and said that what's going to happen is what Facebook has done is opened up an opportunity for competition now, so that somebody an entrepreneur who doesn't censor, who allows whatever to be out there, will now be able to attract people who just like the free-for-all, uncensored nature of information flowing. And that provides an opportunity for them to create something that will drag people away from Facebook.
Well, and see, like I said, that's if you are writing for a magazine or a newspaper and you bring something bogus in, you may get a pass card once, but generally speaking, you're not. If you get caught, you're done. And that's exactly what we need to look at here, is that if Facebook or anybody else, man, if anybody else that's out there that is relaying the news, and that's where people are going for their news, and they need to rope this in, because right now everybody's integrity is in question now. Everybody's integrity. The honest guys out there that are out there working really hard to get to the bottom of it, like Jon Rappoport. That's a classic example right there. So, all of this fake news stuff that is going on out there, people look at guys like Rappoport or other guys that are out there that are really working at honest journalism and trying to bring down the man, and it hurts everybody. That's the problem.
I don't know, man. They made this. Did you ever watch the movie The People versus Larry Flint?
Yep.
They made the same argument against him in a lot of his satirical cartoons and things like that, and they said it was offensive. They said, people were accusing him of being offensive because he's publishing this stuff, and it was this landmark First Amendment case, and he's like, if you don't like it, don't read it.
Right.
Don't buy my magazines.
Right.
Don't do that. So when people like Jon Rappoport hold themselves to a high standard, they will elevate above this noise. They will, because people will get sick and tired of it. But people pay massive amounts of money for things like the National Enquirer, and so there's a need for it. So they're filling a niche. Now, I don't subscribe to it. I don't buy the National Enquirer. But these First Amendment types of conversations are very important. And when you change it to like whether Facebook has a right to censor or not, they absolutely do. They own it. They own the website, and they generate, and they have to appeal to their customers.
Yeah.
I get that.
John, but we're talking about two different subjects here.
Exactly.
We are talking, no, listen to me. Larry Flint, owned his magazine, number one.
Right.
Number two, he is protected under so many different laws when it comes to the freedom of the press that he owned that. All right. It is another thing altogether to print and make up and lies and fake facts. That's different. That's a whole. You are not protected.
You are.
You can get no.
You are protected against making stuff up. He was protected. That was the whole thing in the movie. They said this is he had some politician. It's been a long time since I've seen it. He had some politician in a compromising position, or it was Reverend Jerry Falwell, or one of those people that was supposedly whose reputation was very important to him, and they didn't appreciate the context of the comic, and so they were trying to say this is a lie and it should not be printed. It's obscene. And Larry said, no, it's part. It needs to be protected because it's First Amendment speech. And they said, no, it's obscene. It needs to be censored.
That's right. And anybody can make those claims. But that's Falwell was right and Larry Flint was right. They're both. If Falwell's offended, then he goes and he sues Larry Flint, and then it gets brought out in court. But I'm talking about fake, made up news that is being portrayed as being real news. That's a totally different subject. That's a totally different thing.
You're talking about libel then.
Well,
in the legal sense of the word.
And
it's
I was going to bring up libel earlier. And the thing is, when you're hiding behind a bunch of different things, in this case, it could be Macedonia, or you're chasing down servers that are somewhere, that's and fake people, fake names, not real journalists. Now you're going to have to go and find somebody to sue, and that's difficult. All right, but right now, if you were doing that in the United States, just imagine for a second here that if some major New York Times or the Miami Herald or CNN was doing fake news stories, they would go out of business. The lawsuits
I don't know.
were
The Onion's been pretty popular.
Well, that's
the Onion
satire.
Is a hugely popular website.
No, it's satire. It says it right on the top of their website. It's satire.
It does, but have you seen how many mainstream media people quote it as a real news site? Have you seen that?
I've seen it over the years. I've been suckered into the Onion. I love the Onion.
Of course.
Yeah,
I do too.
But satire's another thing, and satire is also protected under the law. But these fake news stories are not. It doesn't. They don't claim that they're satire, and having a fake a website that's impersonating a mainstream news site, that's not satire. That's
it depends. It depends. You don't think it is. You don't think it's satire because you hold yourself to journalistic integrity. But there's a lot of people that think that stuff's funny. Who are we to legislate what's funny and not? I think it's market forces, man. It's protected speech. You gotta let the market forces play. So if people don't want to hear that stuff, if it's too close to the line, if they start losing credibility or faith in a particular source, you just go somewhere else. But it's like one of the controversial figures right now is Michael Moore, or who has been in the past, 15 years or whatever, that like when his movie Sicko came out, he had a lot of really good points, but a lot of people didn't even listen to him because they've already associated him with being slanted, he's partisan, he's not truthful. He doesn't present both sides of the argument. So even when he comes up with valid points, he gets dismissed. And that's what I'm talking about, is it's just market forces. They just deal with that. And I think what's far more dangerous is to go around thinking that we're smart enough to say what is and isn't funny and what is and isn't appropriate for everybody, and then we start somehow legislating that. I think that's a far more slippery slope.
Of course that is, and we've got to really figure out a way to rope this in. I will yell till the cows come home. I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's cool. I don't think the fake news gold rush is a good thing. Absolutely not, and I won't be a part of it. I'm not going to condone it. I will never say that it's okay. It's protected under freedom of speech. What is protected under freedom of speech not only is satire and humor, but opinion and religious beliefs and so forth. That's what the First Amendment is there for, to make sure that somebody that is telling the truth is not suppressed. It's not.
I disagree. I disagree in some respects.
So you're saying that freedom is. You're saying
right here is the point of what the People versus Larry Flint was all about. He said, when you find my content offensive, the First Amendment is for me just as much as it is for everybody else. And he said, if it's not for me, then who's it for? The First Amendment only matters when it's dealing with subject matter that you find offensive.
Not offensive is different.
The reason that's important is because the next time you say something, somebody else might find that offensive.
That's right. John, you're 100% right. But a lie is different. That's different. Making something up is different. That's not offensive. It's a lie. And it's untrue. You're not protected you are not protected under the First Amendment to create lies about somebody. That is liable, and that is, I'm not going to stand for that. I don't care.
No, I agree. It is libelous, and you can stand trial for that, and it's slanderous, libelous if you print it, right?
Yeah, or say it. Or say
it.
So
I agree with you in that regard, but we're walking a fine line. I mean, somebody could claim that just because they don't have so backing up, when we were talking about The Onion, you were okay with The Onion being satire because it says satire right at the top, or it doesn't claim to be fake news. What if it's in really fine print at the bottom? What if it doesn't say it at all? It's open to interpretation. So where do you draw that line?
Well,
one person's satire is another person's offensive lie.
Yeah, wait a minute. Okay, you just said two critical things here, and you were hypocritical on it, or you said two different things. Okay, if it says it at the bottom of the article in fine print, right, and you don't catch it, that's on you. They're protected because they wrote that. And then you said, what if it's not written? Well, if it's not written, then you're going into the libel zone, especially if you name names and you create a lie about somebody and it's a lie, then that's all it is. It's fake news.
So
it's
now
a lie.
Where we are, what you're saying then, if I'm hearing you correctly, is we have to have warning labels on everything. All speech has to have a warning label.
Lies do. Opinions don't. Look, if opinions don't have to. No, of course not. It's an opinion. Okay. If I want to say Hillary Clinton, I think she's ugly, that's my opinion. And people say that kind of stuff. That's different. You're protected under that. All right?
What if you say, I think Hillary Clinton is part of Pizzagate, and I think Hillary Clinton is a pedophile? All of a sudden, if you don't say by your definition that's
no, you just said I think,
or that's your opinion.
You just said I think twice.
You have to preface everything with either being, you have to label it as satire, or you have to label it as your opinion.
Because if you go and start making accusations, you need to prove it. You can say I think all you want, but if you go and you point and you make accusations, you got to back it up. You have to back it up, and that's what's most important here. And on top of that, and I need to make this very, very clear. The Founding Fathers wanted to make sure that our press was not suppressed, that they were there. No joke. Our press was there to just stick to Washington and to the president like glue. That they would have unfettered access and they would be able to report, and they would not be there wouldn't be any repercussions if they printed something, if they found out something, that they would be able to go and print it. You got to have backup, but there you go, right? And that's what it's there for. Wait, John, let me finish. What they did not say is it's okay for the press to lie. That's not what they said. And let's be very clear here. And that's what fake news is. Okay?
And let's be very clear that I'm not advocating for that. I'm just posing difficult situations that test that. Because I tend to agree with you, Jimmy, in a lot of ways in this regard. I mean, I would rather be on the side of having it to be truthful than not, but it gets really slippery. One of the ways that it gets slippery is with UFOs. How do you determine fact from fiction in that regard? Something that's not provable, or Bigfoot.
Yeah, but you're not
any of the other paranormal phenomena that we talk about on the show.
Right, but you're not making something up. You're just asking. That's a bit different. That's a bit different. It's a bit different. Look. How are the two even similar? Okay, if I'm out with you and we're in a car and we look up and we see something that looks like a frigging classic flying saucer, silver, zip past our car, and we take a picture of it, right? And then it disappears. Right. And we come back and we post the picture on Facebook and we go, look what we saw. Could this be a UFO? Well, that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. What is fake about that? Some people are going to believe it. Some people aren't. Okay, I get that. But all we're doing is reporting about our experience. That's all. Right. What is libelous about that? Who is getting harmed? Who lost a job because of this? Who got beat up because of this? Who wrecked their car because, what? There is nothing there. We're just talking about something. When I talk about contact in the desert and seeing this green globe, I had hundreds of people standing around me. I'm reporting my experience. And I have said a million times, I don't know if it's us or them. What do you guys think? Because I don't. Right. But that doesn't mean I'm doing fake news. I'm reporting on exactly what happened.
Well, Facebook could deem you as being fake news is the point.
Say that again.
The point is that started this whole discussion is that Facebook could label you as being a fake news source because of that, because they said any talk of UFOs, and I don't know if they've said this or not, but if they determine that any talk of UFOs or aliens or Bigfoot or any other paranormal stuff is automatically labeled fake news, and that's it, and it'll be censored at that point. That's what is really spooky about this whole idea of labeling things as fake news to me. And because all of a sudden you don't get you can't ever discuss things because that line keeps getting moved back.
Right. And so which is back to my point, John. All of this fake news that you think is okay, and that's on you. That's fine.
In context. In
context, all of that fake news hurts the rest of us that are trying to answer some questions here that are tough to answer. Not only with UFOs, but like I said, with pedophilia and with child porn and the things that are going on out there in the world. And you want to report some fake crap out there like Pizzagate, then it harms everything else with the people out there that are trying to speak about child pornography or UFOs or conspiracy theories or JFK. It screws everything up. And that's
you
my
have determined
point.
that Pizzagate is fake news. there are plenty of other people that are on the other side of this argument that are just as convinced that you're wrong and they're right.
I don't
that
care.
It is real news,
you know
and
what?
It's evolving.
And that's the
Should
problem.
Should they be censored?
And that's the problem, John. Right there.
Why is that a problem?
What do you mean?
Shouldn't
why
we
is that?
Throw all this out and discuss it, and the truth will rise to the top.
It already has. And let me tell you something. This is my point. The focus of this. And all of the elite craziness that is going out there with children and slaves and just crazy stuff that I don't even like to talk about because it's so foul and so disgusting that it's difficult, right? It's just difficult, but we know that it exists, right? And then you bring along something like Pizzagate, and you want to start pointing fingers at me. Right? And suddenly, because I don't believe that Pizzagate is real, I know child pornography is real. I know pedophilia is real. Of course I do. And it's disgusting. But if you want to point fingers at me about Pizzagate, now I'm not going to talk about pedophilia because you guys want to silence me on everything else and point fingers at me or anybody else that has looked at Pizzagate and said, look, man, this Pizzagate thing, pedophilia is real. Child pornography is real. We need to look at this. But this Pizzagate, and you want to point at he's a denier. You know, they're a denier. That network is a denier. Then everything gets killed, and you screwed everything up. The best thing to do is to step back and do your own investigation and look into this, because just maybe something's not right here. I can tell you what is wrong. And that is the child pornography and everything else that's going on out there. But if you start pointing fingers at everybody that denies Pizzagate, then child porn will never get talked about. It never will.
So
and then you screw up. No, listen to me, John.
Don't point fingers at... Sorry?
You're not listening to me. Okay?
No, I am.
You can't...
But I think you're being hypocritical here, Jimmy.
How?
Because I think you're saying, don't point fingers at me, Jimmy Church, to say that I shouldn't be listened to because I'm a Pizzagate denier, but then by the same token, you're saying Pizzagate's fake, and so we should not listen to anybody who's saying that Pizzagate is real because that's fake news.
That's because
Am I misunderstanding you?
No, you guys are doing that to yourself. That's what I'm saying.
No,
it's
I'm
not
in
me.
That group. I have not made a stand on Pizzagate one way or another. I'm neutral on that.
Okay, see, that's...
Because I haven't done my research.
That's exactly my point. That's exactly my point.
I'm using it as an example here.
And it's a great one. You know, that's
Am
exactly my
I misunderstanding
point.
you, though?
How are you
Because you're saying on one hand, it seems like you're saying on one hand, don't label Jimmy Church as a Pizzagate denier, but by the same token, label everybody else who believes in Pizzagate as fake news. Isn't that hypocritical?
That's not even what I said.
Oh,
it's
okay,
not
I
even.
didn't misunderstand you.
It's
Sorry.
not even what I said. What I said was,
My
and
mistake. Sorry.
it's what I am saying here, and it's very important when it comes to fake news, like Pizzagate, which was fake. People buy into that. And the emotions, because of the subject matter of what it is dealing with, which is child sex slaves and sex rings and pedophilia, that's the most disgusting, vile thing out there, right? Okay,
right,
so
right, yeah,
you get
absolutely.
all of these emotions going, and this Pizzagate thing takes off. People start pointing fingers, and the people out there, journalists or whoever that have looked into Pizzagate, go, I don't know about the Pizzagate thing. And suddenly, when they say that, they're pedophilia deniers, and that's not right. And that is wrong. And then those journalists out there, they're like, man, see, this is why I don't talk about this stuff. This is why I don't do it. And then everything gets defeated, and that's what's wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah, that's 100% right.
All right, I gotta head to a break, John. Great conversation.
Okay, man.
I'll talk to you.
Thanks, brother.
You got it.
All right, bye-bye.
This is Fade to Black. That's what I'm talking about with fake news right there. That is why. Got to be very careful here. Got to be very, very careful. Very. It's Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. It's Thursday night. It is Fader night. All those phone calls were lined up. I'll get to him after the break. 323-825-5045.
Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I had gout in both my knees, and it's gone.
Well, I'm pretty stupid. I should have ordered it 15 years ago. Best thing I ever got in my... It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life.
He had eczema on his hand, and it cracked for years. Mm-hmm. He did anything from doctor, every cream, everything. And 3 months on the veggies and fruit, it was gone.
They're just awesome. They keep asking me, what am I doing? I told them what I did with my cholesterol. I had the blood test, right? And it went down 100 points. 262, now it's 162. Everything is just perfect.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Call now, 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code TSL.
Would odors, mold, and mildew describe your basement or crawl space? It doesn't have to be that way. Transform them into a fresh, healthy, usable one with the technologically advanced Wave Moisture Control Units. The computerized operation maximizes moisture control and also expels harmful radon, combustion gases, and numerous other pollutants. Dehumidifiers are old technology that do nothing for air quality and waste energy. Wave units are intelligent, self-monitoring, do not need maintenance, and will save you hundreds in electricity. Wave units are still running effectively over 15 years. They've been tested and installed in public and military housing and by property managers nationwide. Buy a unit now, and if your home is not fresher and drier, you can return it for a full refund for up to 12 months. What have you got to lose? Call now. 1-888-618-WAVE. 1-888-618-WAVE. Or visit mydryhome.com. That's mydryhome.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129, and use the promo code JCRTWS, and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to JimmyChurchRadio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Tepe.
This is Kristen, Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Thursday night, man. Fader night, taking your calls. Fake news. Man. I'll stand my ground, though. John T. coming in strong. Let's go back to the phones. Hi. You're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, Jimmy. It's Cindy from North Carolina. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Cindy?
Taking a couple of go back to Tepe.
Yeah, I think everybody is. I was just watching the chat rooms and Twitter. I think everybody's in a go Beckley Tepe kind of mode. I think it's it's happening here in the bunker in real time. I'll just let you know.
Yeah, that's good.
So what's
I think
cracking?
you
What's
deserve
on your mind?
Oh, gosh. I just wanted to call. I don't get to talk to you guys too much anymore. I'm out. It's, 12:30 here. I'm usually asleep by now. But anyway, yeah. No, I can't believe people actually get their news from Facebook. I'm like, that's just crazy.
Well, it isn't. It isn't, and I'll tell you why it isn't. Because breaking news, like world-changing events, earthquakes and tsunamis and fires and plane crashes and that stuff breaks on Facebook so quickly now that's I get that. I do it. I
get it.
I'll be sitting here. I can't tell you how many times. This is broadcast number 574 tonight. 574 shows where I've been sitting here, and on one screen I've got Facebook, and I look over and there's a plane crash in Egypt, right? And I see it on Facebook. It breaks on Facebook first. And I'll go, and when something like that breaks on Facebook, and I'll immediately, during the show, I've done this, I've done this hundreds of times, and I'll go to CNN or something, and it's not there. The story's not there. But yet it'll break on Facebook first, and you've got to wait 20 minutes or 30 minutes for it to pop up on CNN. And so I get that. I really do. I do. And people, but now, because they're so used to that, they're acclimated to it. They're totally acclimated. And then this, a fake news story comes across the wire on Facebook, and people click on it and they read it and they repost it. And the next thing you know, this thing has a way of, taking on a life of its own. And then people start to accept it as fact.
It's crazy. I remember when Betty White died. Do you remember that?
Oh man, you know how many times I have clicked on Betty White is dead, right?
And people are still buying it.
I still, you know what? I'll still click. I'll still do it.
You still do it? No.
I'll still do it.
No.
Oh man, I will. I guarantee you, if Betty White, one more of those pops up in Facebook, I'll still click on it. I still will. All right. Thank you for the phone call, Cindy. Behave and be well out there, and quit being a stranger, okay?
Okay. All right. I'll try not to.
Okay. Thank you so much. Good night, Cindy. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
Hey, Jimmy, it's me, Arturo. Can you hear me?
Hey, Arturo. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. I'm sorry I haven't called in a long time. We've just been very busy.
Yeah, it's been probably a year. I hope life is good.
Right?
I see all your breaking news and your movie posters, and you're Steven Spielberg now, man. You're too busy for us.
Oh no, I'm never too busy. I always listen to you guys.
Yep, and you've been with us since the very first show. So there you go. So
exactly, I'm a fader now.
Yes, you are, man. You're a flag carrying, badge carrying, ID carrying fader now. What's on your mind, Arturo?
I just wanted to talk about the false news reporting and all that.
Yeah.
I've been, I was in the news since '98. Started off in college in the news station that we had there, and then when I graduated, we went. I got a job at the local TV station.
Okay.
And I've done that for about 8 years for that. So in total, I had a little over 12 years of experience. But I can guarantee you that most of this, the false information, they get it from the news wire, and they read up on it and they use that, and they don't bother to use their own little brain to find out what's really going on.
Right.
So they just use the copy that comes with it. So and you can tell, like on the Conan O'Brien show, he usually has little reporter local reporter stations or things like that say the exact same thing. A cat just climbed up in a tree and it got electrocuted. And then another station from another city does the same thing, and they just run with it. They don't bother to change it or anything.
Right.
It's like,
right.
And And, that's one of the reasons I left the TV station, because it was, just inside politics and just pure nonsense, and then plus we get paid nothing, basically. So.
All good points, and see that's the other thing about this, this fake news stuff is, they would take all you have to do is bring in a couple of names that everybody knows, and you just want a headline. All you want is the headline that will force people to or want to click on it to see what this is about, and that's the whole ticket. To get you to click and get you to get over to their website. And the next thing you know, the volume of the website and the way that AdSense and the way that everything is calculated, the money rolls in. And you start to get into the 500,000 clicks, in an hour situation. We're talking about some genuine money, that is paid out. I mean, just imagine that for a second. You write up a couple of paragraphs, you post it on your website, you put the link to the website on Facebook, and that's the effort that you put into it. Right? That's it. That's it. You didn't get in your car, you didn't drive anywhere, you didn't do anything. That's all the effort that you did. And then you sit back and now you're making $1,000 in an hour. Right? Think about that. Mm-hmm. That's pretty tempting. Yeah. It's pretty tempting, and there are people out there that will be tempted, and that's it. That's what it comes down to.
It's all about the money and the ratings, and because the media is changing now to digital and to social media. People need to get attention, and like you said, they have AdSense and they make money out of it, and then you have sponsorships, and we got to get those people to get paid and. It's all about the money. It's all inside politics, like I said.
Well, it makes me one of the guys that I really love is Chris Rock, right? And Chris Rock back in the day would be real about a couple of things. And I remember, I think it was Chris Rock that said sushi. He was talking about sushi. And he said, it's just an amazing thing, sushi, right? Somebody over in Japan said, we'll sell Americans raw fish, right? They'll buy anything, right? We'll just tell them it's good, and they don't care. Well, I'm just using sushi and Chris Rock as an example, and so you have people outside of this country, kids that are not affected here. They don't care about us. They're in another country. They don't care if they're making stuff up. They do not care. They're not affected by it. And that's the mentality there. Americans will click on anything, man, and they'll get fired up about anything. Let's just make stuff up. The crazier we make it, the more inflamed they're going to get, the more clicks we're going to get. And once they find out that this method of business, this business model actually worked, then it's on fire. And I forget what I read. Again, it doesn't really matter, but there was something like 200 fake websites out of that town in Macedonia. 200 fake websites, man. 200. Wow. Who wouldn't do it? It's like if you want to be the cool kid in school, man, have a fake website that Americans are clicking on. Let's take their money, right? That's exactly what happened. And it's not cool, man. It is not cool, but they're not affected by it. They don't live here. They don't have to deal with it, and they're totally numb to it. It's absolutely hilarious. All right, Arturo, I'm going to get to some more phone calls, my brother. Thank you so much.
Of course.
You've been with us for years.
Great talking to you.
You are the best, man, and I do mean that. Keep us posted.
Thank you so much.
Keep us posted on the new movie, okay?
Of course.
All right.
You'll be the first.
All right, I'll talk to you. Thank you so much, Arturo.
Talk to you soon.
Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Yeah, hi, Jimmy. It's Donna from Hawaii. I just had to get my 2 cents in here. Been listening all night. And what I think is missing from this argument actually is critical thinking. And people, we've been always taught certain things in school and on in religion, et cetera, and our news media. that this is fact and this is not fact, and we just, we never had to use our brains to really figure things out. And just like that Pizzagate story, I'm right there with you on that. My BS meter went off as soon as I read it. But certain other things I'm unsure about, like, the Syrian refugee, and whether who's attacking who and who's fighting with who. So it comes down to, I think, a choice that people are going to have to grow up, basically, and learn to critical think. Because we can't really babysit the population forever and say, okay, we're gonna protect them from this news or that news because it's obviously ridiculous.
Right.
So, because some things, like malicious gossip and things that are meant to hurt people or have a political agenda or some other agenda, that gets sorted out in the courts. I mean, I don't know of any other way to do it. But there should be like a counterbalance somehow. Like, I didn't see a lot of counterbalance to those stories that were out there, probably because they were so sordid. Some of them, you don't even want to touch them. You don't want to be associated with things that are that just kind of creep you out. Because if you have no facts on one side or another, you don't want to get into an argument that you have nothing that you can prove.
Right.
But I think we need some heroes, people that will stand up to some of the fake stories and actually debunk them, if you want to call the debunkers, but because we haven't had that. The fact that they were allowed to be out there so long and nobody took them serious because they figure, people are not going to believe this. And then I think people started believing it because nobody debunked it. Nobody said anything that this isn't true. And you're like, okay, I know it's not true, but why the heck? I mean, if somebody said certain things about me, I would be out there screaming from the rooftops like, hey, this person is, this is an inflammatory story. This is not true. I mean, Trump does it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He can't say anything. And a lot of the stuff he'll go on and, on Twitter, and a lot of it isn't even factual, the things he'll but he doesn't care. He just defends himself, no matter left, right, whatever. He's not going to let anybody say anything about him.
Right.
So that's the other side, so you have to be able to use your critical thinking on that too. And I think now there are some actual news media that maybe will stand up and say, hey, we didn't really hear a couple thousand people cheering when the 9/11 thing went off or whatever, but then it becomes a factual thing where you can check it and, then you believe whose facts, you want to believe.
Yeah. And there's also, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no, you didn't. I was rambling.
There's always a liability issue that comes into play, and when Facebook is set up like they are, and certainly they have a mountain of attorneys and all it's the richest and the biggest and all of that stuff. So you're up against that. So do you, in a situation, if you're a target of something like this, and I could specifically say like Clinton or Trump, but because that's the easiest thing, because most of these fake news were about those, but you have a liability issue. So do you go, the traditional thing is you would sue a magazine, right, and take the magazine down. But now when you're dealing with a situation like this where it's not actually, is it Facebook's fault because they allowed it to happen, or are you going after the perpetrators that originated the story, and then you have to go and chase them down, and they're not, in most cases, they're not even real people, in that they don't have a real name. You don't know who you're going after, right? So how I
would look for agendas too. I mean, like who has the most to gain from a particular thing being out there, a meme that's being promoted. Well, and if it's going to benefit someone, that's when I'd start digging, because it's like, okay, who benefits from this story? It's not just some crazy kid that's out there in Croatia or wherever he's making the story up, and he maybe makes some money on it, because that could be another fake thing. Who knows if that's where it actually came from?
There's that part.
We don't know.
There's that part, and then you have something that is really crazy and in front of everybody, is you have WikiLeaks publishing leaked documents, right? Now, is that legal? Why hasn't somebody sued WikiLeaks? Could you sue WikiLeaks? Is there a centralized situation there that you could go after them? Why hasn't somebody
But that
sued?
wasn't fake. That
No,
was
I'm talking.
documents,
I'm
right?
talking about.
It might have been opinions or talk, but the fact that did WikiLeaks publish anything that was proved to be fake? Did they fake any documents on there?
No. That's not what I'm referring to. The documents. Let's assume the documents are real, but the damage is done. And so you're going to sue for damages, right? That's what you're going to do. If your reputation was hurt, did you lose a job? Did you lose income because somebody published something that was private of yours? I don't know. I really don't. But
that's a little slippery slope, because then if you're a whistleblower and you want to call out a company that's doing something illegal and it's, say it's polluting and they're faking, they're covering it over and not telling anyone, and you publish that and the company goes bankrupt, you're a whistleblower and you said something that you proved was true, but you did destroy that company.
That's right.
So are you liable for destroying them, or are you a hero for,
Exactly. And those are really good points. And let me put it to you this way. This is how my twisted mind always looks at certain situations. Let's say, right? Let's just say I get a bunch of documents and I decide, I get them anonymously. And they're real. They're real emails. They're real documents. They're real government reports. They're real things. It could be about anything. NSA, CIA, FBI, Department of Defense, whatever it is, right? And I publish those online. I can guarantee you, and I'm not joking about this, I'm going to prison for the rest of my life. They're going to come and find me.
Yeah.
I've broken the law. I'm going to jail. That's the way that I just know that what I just did is not legal, right? That's my point. And I applaud WikiLeaks. There are things that they have done that would have never happened, and certain crazy events that would have never been brought to light if they haven't done that. Crazy, illegal situations that our government and other people have done. Right? So I see that and I understand that. I'm saying if it would have been me doing that, I know that I'd be through. I'd probably be killed. Right? And so.
Yeah, or you'd be in some other country hiding out.
Well, and eventually killed. Right. Exactly. So that's the way that I look at it. It just, I don't know how, which goes back to these fake news sites and so forth. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel legal. It doesn't feel cool. Whatever. I just know that if it was me doing it, if I was creating fake news and I had a fake news website and I was putting it out there, people would come down on me. They would, and my reputation would be through, and it would be over, and I would have somebody at my door. I'd have somebody follow me and hurt me or my family because I said something about them, right? But that's why I feel that it is just wrong. It's not right. It's not cool. It's not
everyone else who has that. So that's the difference. And it's sometimes.
Oh, we lost you, Donna. We lost you. We're losing you. You're breaking up.
And out faded. Can you hear me now?
You're breaking up. Okay. I think I got you back.
That's probably my phone, maybe.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're at the end of the show anyway. Donna, thank you so much for the phone call.
Thank you too, Jimmy. Okay. Have a nice night.
Yeah, you too. Took me all the way to the end. Thank you, Donna. It was breaking up. But, it just feels funky to me. It does. It does. Fade to black. All right. Now, I've got some real news stories. These are real. These are vetted. NASA is planning on sending a new Mars orbiter out, and right now it's going to replace some of the aging hardware and also get to some more amazing science images and data from the red planet in anticipation of more robotic missions to Mars and hopefully a human mission to Mars. Back in July, NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California, awarded 5 $400,000 contracts for concept studies to 5 different companies. And this looks to launch in 2022. Do you remember in the original Star Trek series, Spock and Bones McCoy were forever running around different planets in the USS Enterprise with their tricorders, right? That space-age device that could scan anything and diagnose medical conditions in an instant. Remember that? They would scan, right? The tricorder. Well, for nearly 5 years now, dozens of engineering teams from around the planet have been competing to design a real-life tricorder that approximates the functions of the famous Star Trek device. Now, this is no goof-around competition either. This is the real deal. The winner stands to receive millions of dollars in funding from chip manufacturer Qualcomm and the nonprofit organization X Prize. Well, this week, Qualcomm Tricorder X Prize officials announced that not one, but 2 teams of finalists have made it to the last round of the competition, having designed tricorder-style medical devices that are actually pretty space-age in look and function. This is no joke. Weighing in at less than 5 pounds each, the devices can diagnose and interpret 13 different health conditions within minutes, while continuously monitoring 5 different vital sign metrics. Dynamical Biomarkers Group and Final Frontier Medical Devices made it to the final round and will now move to the last stage of the competition, hands-on consumer testing at the Altman Clinical Translational Research Institute at the University of California, San Diego. The first prize winner is awarded $6 million. 6, with $2 million for second place and an extra $1 million for the team that receives the highest vital signs in the final round. How cool is that? You should check it out. Both devices, by the way, are kind of one works on a cell phone and another one works on a pad, an iPad. But they're pretty cool. I mean, that's the central brain in all of this. But they're real and they work. It's pretty cool. And so we're going to look at this over the next year and see who actually wins. All right, do I have time for this next story? I got to get this in. A massive 20 tons of drugs with a conservative street value of $60 million were seized from a super lab run by the Taliban narco network. The biggest ever seizure of heroin in Afghanistan, if not the world, which took place last October in a joint operation between the DEA, American Special Forces, and Afghanistan's Sensitive Investigative Unit and National Interdiction Unit. The haul included, now listen to me, 129 kilograms of crystal heroin, 6.4 tons of heroin base, 134 kilograms of opium, 12.5 tons of morphine base, 12.5 tons, and 12 kilograms of hash. 12 kilograms of hash. They had to throw that in. The operation targeted on the Hadama drug trafficking network led by Taliban commander Abdul Rahman and Haji Jonan, a narco trafficker in the western Afghan province of Farah. On October 17, 2015, the Green Beret A team assisted with a warrant search of the site. Following clashes with insurgents close to the compound, the group discovered a drug lab used to make the heroin base from poppies, and the report described the compound as complex, sophisticated, and well fortified. This has been Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Fader Night, Thursday night. Thank you to Jon Rappoport and his No More Fake Newsroom, www.nomorefake.com. Thank you to everybody that called in tonight. Yeah, it got heated. You know, I don't think any of us like getting played with fake news. Fade to Black's executive producers Rita Kamarian. Show is produced by Hilton J. Paul, Mark D. Kovar, LJ3, Renee, Mark Dunbar, Jonas. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Fady by Dale. Webmaster is Drew, the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. Syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2016 by Faded Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Tomorrow night, I'll be over at Coast to Coast AM sitting in for George Norrie. My guest, Douglas Rushkoff. And then I'm over there on Saturday. Ralph Ellis and Howard Bloom. All right, come hang out with me over at Coast. Other than that, everybody have a great weekend. Be safe. Go Beckley Tepe.